Hello and welcome back to Let's Play Wrath of the Righteous with me, Bring It On. So I think I've solved the puzzle, and if this is a solution, I'm gonna be upset. Son of a gun. Alright, let me loot this room first, and then I'll go over the puzzle. I need a breather. Rushlight. I've been to that tournament. Okay, so for this puzzle, I wanted to start here. Because I saw a grid of 4, I saw a square here, so I assumed each symbol represented a corner. And I was right, but it's also not consistent. So the 7 represents the bottom left, the H represents the top left, but on this side, it mirrors instead of falling in the same pattern. So to the top right is the scythe at the bottom, to the bottom right is tic-tac-toe. Because they're clustered together, I assume that they follow the same pattern. Obviously that's not the case. And this one here doesn't make any sense to me. The H mirrors itself, but then the 7 gets thrown into the middle. If the 7 had been in between these two symbols, I'd get it. And then the scythe is up top. So it's the opposite like these two are, but then with the 7 just thrown in the middle, not sure. I should just figure that out. In this one, I get it. I don't like it, but I get it. It represents sections. You have the 7 section here, then the spiky ghost. But then you have to take the spiky ghost again. So I guess you're supposed to assume that there's like a square in between these two, and that no matter what, the ghost falls to the left of the squares. Now, to the puzzle's credit, once you get the first couple of tablets in, it will only let you put down 1 tablet per slot. So it really holds your hand throughout the entire puzzle, but you still kind of have to brute force it. Also, there's no adjacencies, so you don't have a good starting point, like all the other puzzles we've done. At least I'm pretty sure all the other puzzles have had an adjacency somewhere. So one of the hints on the outside will match up with the tablet that you put beside it. You don't have that here at all. Well, I mean, I guess you could say this is adjacent, technically. But I wouldn't. Alright, now we have another puzzle to solve, but first, let's look at the weapon we picked up. Alright, whenever the wielder of this +5 radiant nullifying file shard successfully charges an enemy, they gain spell resistance equal to 11 plus their character level for 3 rounds. That's neat. Alright, back to the Heart of Mystery, so we can solve this last puzzle and finally wrap up this quest.
I'll go ahead.
Are we in trouble yet?
Not sensing an obvious pattern. I'm just gonna throw an edit here and see if I can't figure this out off camera. I mean, I see a couple patterns, like the 7s are all on the inside here. But I also know that these are a little different because we have like each one of these sections out of the 3 can be filled in with the tablets we have inside our inventory. So I'll be right back. Alright, and welcome back. So I'm pretty sure I just solved the puzzle. I'm also pretty sure I did not solve it the right way. So all these symbols on the outside of this central puzzle here connect this one to the other puzzles. So if I go through this portal here, you'll see these symbols laid out just like this, closest to the portal. And I assume you're supposed to use that to solve it. It didn't make any sense to me. So I sit here staring at this puzzle and decided to start here with this row or column, depending on which way you look at it. Because it was only missing 2 slots. And I saw this symbol lined up with that. and decided to look back at the Enigma's symbols and see if it matched up number-wise, and it does. This is the value for 2 from the Enigma puzzle. And it matches up just about everywhere if, and only if, you use the inside symbols. These external symbols will mess it up. So here, this is worth 1. And this is worth 3. So you're going to have 4 here. And the only tablet I have left is one that only has 1 blue. Here, 1 and 5. This should be 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Here, 1 and 3. 1, 2, 3. So it all matches up. I don't think that's how you're supposed to solve it, but that's how I did it. We're going to put down this last tablet and see if that's the solution. And I also hope there's not a boss fight because I'm not buffing up. So if anyone figured out the proper solution to this puzzle, please let me know. One most worthy, you are late. The Sphinx's voice is tranquil and unchanging. Her masked gaze stares out indifferently somewhere above your head. We've been waiting for you a long time, but the age of the Earthfall has ended, and along with it, our patience. The secrets of creation will remain unknown. Leave. Who are you? What's going on here? Who is here? You're not the one most worthy. You're not the one for whom we've waited. How dare you intrude into our lair and try to discover our secrets? You don't seem to see me. Are you blind? Sphinx remained silent for a while, as if pondering her answer. We've been waiting here far too long. We have fallen into disrepair. Who are you? We're the will of great Ereshkigal, the Demon Lord, the Faceless Sphinx, the Mistress of the Enigma. We're a projection of her will. We are the Gatekeeper, entrusted with opening the door to eternity for the one who is most worthy. Who are you waiting for here? We're waiting for the one who is most worthy, the one who has solved the puzzles, the one who refused to follow their kin, the one who survived the Earthfall, the one to whom we will give our mask and name as our avatar. So she's obviously referring to the storyteller, which I guess that makes sense that we've been finding his notes in all these ruins. Not for you. You are wrong. I'm the one who is most worthy, the one for whom you've been waiting. Sphinx ponders in confused silence. Silence drags on. Long minutes pass in silence. So what about my reward? The Sphinx slowly shakes her head in bewilderment, then turns to you. Who is here? You're not the one most worthy. You're not the one for whom we've waited. How dare you intrude into our lair and try to discover our secrets? I've solved your puzzles. Now I want my reward. The reward is intended for the one most worthy. You will not receive it. You should not have solved the puzzles. You should not have found the way here. You are a mistake. Screw you. I worked hard on those puzzles. Show the Mask of Nothing. I too am a conduit for Ereshkigal's will. She orders you to leave your post. Sphinx turns her head and gazes so intently at your mask, as if she can actually see it. The silence drags on. Long minutes pass in silence. Wait some more. Sphinx remains silent. Wait some more. The silence of the Sphinx becomes oppressive. The stillness is deafening. Wait a little bit more. The one most worthy is here, but it's not the one most worthy who speaks. How can the most worthy one speak if they are not here? How can the voice of the most worthy one be present if the most worthy one is absent? Broken. Here I was hoping it would tell me the mysteries of the universe. Well, what's done is done. Looks like I have to unravel them on my own. The Sphinx silently disappears before your eyes, as if she was never there. You look at the ghost expectantly, but he is silent and motionless. He seems stunned, unable to comprehend what has happened. Then suddenly, the ghost springs into action. With one swift movement, he grabs the mask, rips it off his face. This is the first time you've seen the ghost's face. He looks pale and haggard, but his dark eyes burn with stubbornness and strength. I have been imprisoned by that cursed sphinx for thousands of years, but now I am finally free. There'll be no more encounters with wandering travelers. I'll never again have to lure them into a trap with the promise of great mysteries. I must reward you for my freedom, adventurer. Although I have been dead for thousands of years, I was once a thief. The good thief always has some loot stashed away. Is this the storyteller's friend? Kiney, I think is his name. Take this as a token of my gratitude. Oh, look at that! It is! You now gain access to the secrets of creation, but you have given me the gift of freedom. I was once known as Kiney the Stubborn, Thief of Secrets. Thank you for releasing me from my imprisonment. Wait, so you're Kiney the Thief. You're the one who escaped the enslavement of the Cyclopes and hid from them in the abyss. An elf called the Storyteller told me about you. He said you were his friend. Storyteller. I do not know anyone who goes by that name, but... The ghost falls silent, lost in thought. I believe I know the person you were talking about. He turns his face away, overcome with emotion. My friend. The one I betrayed. Can it be that he still lives? What you say is true. I am sad that we will not have the chance to meet. My time in the material plane is coming to an end. I can feel my life slipping away. Why did you betray him? Why did you deceive him and try to steal his secrets? It is difficult to explain, and I'm running out of time. The ghost bows his head. He hesitates for a moment, holding his arms across his chest, before he continues in a low voice. He was obsessed with his rift experiments. Elves are accustomed to the idea of moving between planes and traveling to different worlds. After all, elves are not native to Golarion. They originated elsewhere. That is why elves find it so difficult to understand the disastrous consequences that can result from opening permanent rifts and portals. Of course, you know all about such consequences. After all, we live in a world where the world wound already exists. But I was trying to prevent such a catastrophe. I implored my friend to stop what he was doing. When I failed to convince him, I stole his secret notes and hid them where I thought no one would ever find them. That explains why we've been finding all the elven notes everywhere. Your friend is alive. Is there anything you would like me to tell him? Anything I want to tell him. The ghost considers this for a while. What is there to say? That I regret what I did to him, even though I do it again? That I've never had a better friend. The ghost shakes his head and adds quietly, tell him that in all my life, I never had anything more delicious than the spiced mulled wine we used to drink together in his tower. I agree, mulled wine's pretty fantastic. Gives you the highest skill bonus out of all the foods that I guess all the recipes I've looked at least. What will happen to you now? Who knows? I've been a prisoner of a horrible demon lord for thousands of years. Will I join the River of Souls like everyone else? Will I stand trial before Pharasma? If I do stand trial, where will I be sent? I do not know the answer to any of these questions, but it doesn't really matter. Whatever happens, it cannot be worse than what I have already suffered. Now that you're no longer bound by the spell, can you tell me why you were captured? What purpose did you serve in Ereshkigal's plan? Ereshkigal forced me to play this game of questions and answers with travelers, but she never told me the reason for my imprisonment. I can only tell you my theory. I think that all of this, the riddles, the talking ghosts that appear in strategic locations, was designed to whet the curiosity of those who reach for the unknown. In other words, it was bait. The bait was meant to lure them here. The ghost falls silent, then says in a low voice, it is possible that she had another goal in mind. The Faceless Sphinx finds pleasure in subduing powerful seekers of knowledge, and my friend, the one you call the Storyteller, was a powerful archmage unlike any other. Perhaps Ereshkigal believed that he would enter the heart of mystery to save me. Did the promise of great knowledge fail to sway him, I'd be the perfect bait to lure him into the trap. If that was her plan, things didn't go the way she hoped. Even the most cunning demon lords make mistakes. Well, and she's dead, so yeah. She's not infallible. Your freedom awaits. Farewell. Farewell to you too, adventurer, and thank you.
As it should be.
What's over there?
Alright, Mask of the Most Worthy. White mask with a circle drawn on the inside. This cursed mask grants its wearer a plus 20 insight bonus on all saving throws, DR 5, fast healing 2, and a plus 10 insight bonus on concentration checks. This mask doesn't work against the Ereshkigal's followers, and its wearer suffers a minus 6 penalty on all saves and armor class on Ereshkigal's domain. How does that compare to the other one? So still the plus 20 insight bonus on all saving throws. Mask of Nothing gives us concealment instead of DR 5 and fast healing. Mask of Nothing also gives bonuses on our checks and not on skill checks, not concentration checks. Okay. Well, that's done. What a doozy it was. Alright, we're going to go back to Dresden. I'm sure Galfrey's going to want to talk to us because we saved her. And then we need to go turn in, I think, 3 notes to the storyteller. And also tell him about his friend. Alright, I get these guys in position. This one's under siege. The gates of Dresden are open wide. The army that came back from Eyes is standing before you. Hundreds of eyes are watching you triumphant return to your city. You're greeted by a multitude of excited faces. Crusaders, mortals from every corner of Golarion, veterans and new recruits. People well known to you, and people you've never set eyes on before. Everyone watches you with pride and hope in their eyes. Everyone salutes their commander in welcome. Crusaders of Mendev watch you and your followers with hope and reverence. They greet you with welcoming shouts and enthusiastic salutes.
Welcome. I see you have returned. You once again saved me from death, and our army from inglorious defeat.
Her Majesty Queen Galfrey takes a step forward to greet you.
I may have been the one to call this crusade, but it was you who became its very soul and chief strategist of the entire campaign. All hail the commander! Long live our hero!
Nevia is standing still. Her pale face is devoid of emotion, like the pallid visage of a marble statue. Already knows about Erebeth's demise. Turn to Nevia. I'm sorry Erebeth is dead. Nevia's eyes flash, and for an instant, you feel skewered by her gaze. The intensity of her stare fades. She gives you a curt nod. Be a little snarky. You finally recognize my achievements, my queen.
I admit it. Doubting you was a mistake. But now the Crusade must face Threshold. It is time for the final confrontation. The last bloody and decisive battle. Few of us will come back alive. Give us all a few words before you lead us on what is to be our final push. Once you are finished with your speech, please come and see me. I'd like to speak with you in private.
Joffrey leans over you. Hundreds of eyes are turned on you. You feel incredible freedom and tranquility. No longer are you caught in the vise of a single destiny. No longer must you carry the burden of dubious power. No longer are you tormented by the prospect of dying from the wound in your soul. You have the right to decide what to do with your life, or to lead the followers and companions who have put their trust in you. Yeah, the second one is far better than the first one. My warriors, look at me. I speak with you openly. I am not the gods chosen. I do not need the divine to decide my fate, and neither do you. I'll lead you as a mortal among mortals, the first among equals. The gathered crowd listens to you with bated breath. Every so often, the soldiers swap a glance with their neighbors, eyes gleaming with pride and a sense of unity, because all here are mortals who dare to stand together against a terrible threat. Yeah, I'm not going to abandon them. We must think about victory. We mustn't forget we are mortals and have but a single life. Once everything is over, I'll stay here with you, help to restore peaceful life to these lands. The crowd receives your words with a hum of approval. You can discern their eagerness to fight, but also their joy because an end to the carnage is in sight, and peace is waiting just around the corner.
This is where my crusade ends, Commander. Without Beth, I don't belong here.
Nevia looks at you with a stony face. It looks like she wants to add something else, but she purses her lips and turns away instead. I wonder if it's possible to save Erebeth. The storyteller appears behind you, as if from nowhere. A pensive half-smile graces the storyteller's lips. So many go too far in the pursuit of power. So many lose their way, lose sight of their ideals. Not often does one meet someone who rejects power and all-encompassing might, but the right to remain himself. I have witnessed your choice. Your story is a jewel of my collection. You become a pillar of hope for the people, Commander. One day you will be victorious and return to these walls. The city will be waiting. Its people will be waiting. To them, you are already a legend. So I'm sure Goffrey wants to talk. I'm gonna go talk to the storyteller first. I bring word from Kaini, your friend. His soul is being held by a Ereshkigal all these millennia. I helped him break free. He asked me to tell you that the warmed, spiced wine you two used to share in the tower was the best wine he drank in his life. The storyteller flinches. Kaini, my friend. After all this time, I never expected to hear your name, to hear a word from you. I didn't think this would still matter to me after so many years, and yet I am glad, touched, saddened. I cannot make sense of what I'm feeling. You remember the wine. We oft-times sat there on the tower's balcony. He lets out a sigh and smiles. I apologize. I'm not willing to continue this discussion. This is too personal. I thank you for helping Connie find peace. I found a page that might interest you. The storyteller carefully takes your find. Yes, you are right. Another piece of evidence from the past I have forgotten. The old elf's expression becomes withdrawn. The storyteller clenches the pages he brought. His voice becomes a bit younger and more energetic. The purple flame covers my eyes. I cannot turn away. It follows my gaze. I cannot close my eyes. It will follow there too. The heart of the tower burned out of my sight. I'm not sure I'll ever be able to see my dear Golarion again. Wounded, running from the consequences of Earthfall, but no less loved because of that. Exhausted, I sit down on the cold floor of the laboratory. All my work was in vain. I wasted my entire long elven life looking for something that turned out to be useless. I didn't understand what really mattered to me. Golarion, such as it was before Earthfall, does not exist anymore. But there is another new Golarion, a young one that is surviving, fighting for its life. By connecting it with another plane, I would have destroyed the new Golarion, making an extension of the other plane. Instead of trying to save old Golarion, I should have helped the new one. I was supposed to preserve the memory of old Golarion, to gather the knowledge and heritage of the lost civilizations, to give them to the world when it needs them. For at some point, I'll rise from the ashes without my help. I believe this now, and deep down I always have. That's how you lost your sight. Looks like it. Storyteller chuckles faintly. I still see only this purple flame. After so many years, it has become quite dear to me. You almost opened the world wound. The storyteller nods sadly. You're right. It would have been a terrible crime against Golarion. A murder. At the time, it was much weaker than it is now. It wouldn't have been able to resist the demonic invasion. Luckily, I was wise enough to stop before it was too late. Please continue. Rise, elf. This is not the end. The masterful voice seems to ring in my head. A silhouette of an angel appears in the flame. Purple flames are reflected in her gleaming steel armor. She has no face, just two fiery eyes burning deep in the steel hood. Rise, elf. Rise and bow to the will of Pharasma. The storyteller's voice changes subtly, becomes loud and adamant. Rejoice, elf. The Lady of Graves has deemed you worthy. You pursued your goal despite the opinions of those around you, even fate itself. But you managed to stay your hand once you realized your mistake. You saved Golarion from yourself. For this, the Lady of Graves wants to give you a gift. You'll become her usher, an immortal psychopomp. You will take a place at my lady's side, and become the keeper of history, not just for Golarion, but for all the planes. In return, Pharasma requires one thing. Grab your bark-covered notebook. Let the knowledge you obtain remain a secret for many generations of Golarions after you. The storyteller gulps involuntarily. Pharasma herself sent her herald to me. For the first time in my life, I, the last Archmage of Keonan, proudly looked in the eyes of demon lords feel unsure. My hands feel for the notebook on the floor. My fingers run over the tree bark cover lovingly. I don't need eyes to recognize it. I know all its cracks and bumps. It's like my child, the only meaning of my meaningless life. I don't want to destroy it. I can't find it in me to obey the order of the Lady of Graves. You refuse Pharasma herself. The storyteller tries to smile. I did a stupid thing, didn't I? I, the last Archmage of Keonan, was just a fool who had lost his purpose in life, and then dared to disobey a goddess. If I were her, I'd have ordered the herald to destroy the deranged old man. Tell me about the herald Pharasma sent to you. The Steward of the Sky, warrior and herald of Pharasma's will. The Lady of Graves sends her to restore the balance of fates, and also to pronounce a great prophecy. Her interference in the fates of the world is almost imperceptible. Only a few remember meeting her. Don't eternal life and serving Pharasma merit the destruction of such dangerous knowledge? The storyteller remains quiet for a long while, gathering his thoughts. My mind wants to say yes. I should have destroyed my dangerous notes that could have ruined Golarion. But my heart says the opposite. But this knowledge is also part of old Golarion's heritage. I, a child of that lost world, created it in my reckless pride. If I want to preserve all Galarian's heritage, do I have the right to choose which part of this heritage should be wiped out of history? Please continue. I am ready to undergo any punishment for my refusal, but the Steward of the Sky only looks at me quietly, as if pondering something. The knowledge in your hands must not see the light. This is beyond question. But my lady is merciful, and has agreed to make concessions. You tear the pages out of your notebook, and along with it, out of your memory. You will scatter the pages throughout the world, and your memory will be purged. You'll be immortal but pure, like a newborn babe. Use your new life to keep the memory of the fallen and seek the truth about your own past. As soon as you remember this moment, you'll lose your immortality. We'll have to answer my question again. Will you choose to become a servant of Our Lady, or will you prefer to live out the short time you have left? I find no strength to answer, and only nod. The steward raises her hand. We both find ourselves in a whirlwind. I see nothing but the purple flame, the glowing image of the herald, but the rest of my senses tell me we're rushing through many places. I hear seagulls crying, and smell the salty ocean air, followed by the rumble of a raging volcano. The bracing wind of the plains changes to the dry heat of a desert, then the blistering cold of a snowy mountaintop. In each of these places, I tear out a page and give it to the wind. It grabs a new toy from my hands, and takes it far away to hide from me for many years. With every torn page, I start to forget. What did I do in the Ivory Labyrinth? Why did I live in Illusionaira? And indeed, did I ever live there? The name Connie seems vaguely familiar, but I don't remember why it should mean something to me. Maybe it was my own name. Exhausted, I fall down on the withered grass. I remember this is how the woods of my home Keonan used to smell. My mind drowns in the darkness. I don't see the steward any longer, but I still hear her voice. Look for your past, elf, and gather the stories of Galarian, for this is your calling. I name you the storyteller. When you remember this moment, destroy the dangerous knowledge that has once again fallen into your hands, and Phrasma will see you in her halls. And you, Don Quixote, help him with this. Help him make the right decision. The old man drops on his knees. His hands clasp the bark-covered notebook to his chest. His voice trembles. What should I do, Don Quixote? I've gathered the stories of Galarian for so long, looking for my past. Now I have found it. Should I accept Phrasma's proposal to be reborn, or refuse and die? We have to decide, right now. I'm afraid so. The storyteller smiles awkwardly. I feel Phrasma's heavy, silent gaze. She is studying me, evaluating my decisions. She's waiting for my reply. The storyteller lowers his head awkwardly. Forgive me for burdening you with this and asking for your advice. What do you want? If only I could answer this question. The elf chuckles cheerlessly. It'd be safe to assume several thousand years would be enough to make a single decision, but, obviously, the last Archmage of Keonan is also the most indecisive creature on all the planes of the world. So then you got your name, Storyteller, from Phrasma. I suppose so. As for my real name, Storyteller smiles faintly. I remembered it. The name of the last Archmage of Keonan. An old, unwanted, unassuming name. It doesn't suit me anymore. I am the Storyteller, and I like to remain so until the end of my days. What will happen if you accept Phrasma's proposal? I will die and be reborn in a new guise, and join the servants of the Lady of Graves. The secret and dangerous knowledge of how to merge the planes of the world will die with me. I am free to live out the time I have left. A few years fate has in store for me. When they pass, I will die, and then enter Phrasma's halls and give her my oath properly. What will happen if you reject Phrasma's proposal? I will stay here. I'll keep my secret knowledge to hide it in the most faraway and safest place I can find. My age will catch up with me gradually, but I think I still have a few years to write books of the stories I've gathered, or tell them to someone I will take on as an apprentice. As you see, any choice means a prompt death for me, but I'm not afraid. I, having seen the death of thousands of civilizations and outlived time itself, know better than many what is enough. Alright, so I'm a little split on this. I do believe in rejecting the goddess's offer. But I don't want to do it for the sake of knowledge. I feel like Arilu Vorlesh would approve of me telling him to keep the knowledge, but that's not why I'm doing it. I'm doing it to reject the goddess. And he worked so hard to gather that knowledge, too. Yeah. Refuse. Knowledge must be preserved, not destroyed. It can't be inherently dangerous. It is made so by those who possess it. There is wisdom in your words. The elf thinks for a while, then nods resolutely. Phrasma, Lady of Graves, I've made my decision. I'll keep my knowledge for Glorian. I reject your proposal. Nothing happens in response. The lightning strikes from the sky. The ground does not open wide under your feet. You just feel a gust of cold wind, hear a quiet sigh and its soft caress. Well, that's it. Everything is over. I know my story, what I yearned to know all these years, and that I had once hidden from myself. And all this is because of you. Thank you. You've given me the greatest possible gift. Myself. No reward can measure up to your merits, but still, please accept from me a grain of the knowledge that you've helped me to discover. Tell me about Phrasma's gift. Alright, the same story we just read. Let's get through that. Oh, here we go. He's touching the new mask we got. The storyteller touches the mask of the most worthy and raises his eyebrows. This mask, this item, I feel a peculiar kinship with it, as if it calls to me. Remarkable. The elf looks at you with unusual impatience. Shall we? Show the mask of the most worthy. See if you can find out anything about this mask. The storyteller touches the mask reluctantly. His eyebrows immediately shoot up. I see darkness. Cold, endless, hiding numerous secrets. I feel someone's presence in this darkness. Someone is waiting for me there, and this mask is a torch designed to pierce the darkness, reveal age-old secrets. Just put it on and... The elf brings the mask to his face, but suddenly stops. And still, I sense deceit. It's as if by agreeing to wear this mask, I will learn much, but I'll lose just as much. The storyteller gulps, a frightened expression crossing his face. I sense this mask was meant for me. It's a trap they tried to lure me into a long time ago, when I still thought I was the Archmage of Kyonin, was looking for a way to reunite Galarian and the Abyss. Unfortunately for the hunter, I was too engrossed in my research to pay attention to the bait. The storyteller weighs the mask in his hand, chuckles, and returns it to you. Please take it. I was not interested in it back then, and I do not need it now. Alright, so it looks like we're not going to finish that last item. And I have an inkling of where I could find the last resources I need to make that item. Because there was that quest line in the Aleutian Ira I never completed with the runes and the slots on the sides of buildings. I failed that one religion check, and I couldn't complete it. Either that, or there was that perception check in Camelia's room in Canabras that I failed. And it could be there. Those are the two things that... Maybe the wardrobe in Aleutian Ira in the arena that had to bash open, because I don't have lockpick on this character. I don't know. Either way, next episode we'll speak to Galfrey and potentially head towards Threshold. We'll see. We'll see how much she has to say. But for now, thanks for watching. I will see you guys in the next one.